The 1990s marked a golden era for motorcycles. While everyone remembers the iconic superbikes that dominated magazine covers, there existed another low-key group of legendary machines that somehow flew under the radar. Let's explore the top 10 motorcycles from the 90s you never knew about. Now, before we start this rare countdown, subscribe and hit that notification bell. Also, don't forget to share with your riding buddies. Let's begin. Number 10. Japan's answer to Ducati came in the form of the Yamaha TRX 850, a machine that challenged conventions with its snarling parallel twin heart. Those who know. The TRX wasn't just another Japanese sport bike, it was Yamaha's bold experiment. At its core, pumped an 849cc DOHC liquid-cooled engine with a crucial twist, a 270-degree crankshaft that mimicked the firing order and sound of a V-twin. Now, this configuration delivered 79 horsepower at 7,500 RPM and 59 pound-feet of torque at 6,000 RPM, numbers that translated to real-world thrills rather than just spec sheet boasting. Twin 38mm Mikuni carburetors fed the beast, while a steel trellis frame, unusual for Japanese bikes of the era, cradled the power plant with Italian-inspired styling. Weighing in at 417 pounds dry, the TRX was neither a featherweight nor a bruiser. The suspension package included a 41mm conventional fork and rear monoshock, both adjustable for preload and rebound. Stopping power came from dual 298mm front discs and a single 245mm rear disc, adequate but not outstanding for the period. What riders remember most? That distinctive exhaust note bellowing from beneath the 4.5-gallon tank, accompanied by rock-solid reliability that Italian rivals just couldn't match. Next, an Italian single-cylinder soul. Number 9. Few remember the Kajiva Roadster 521. That's their loss. This lightweight Italian charmer packed surprising punch in a compact package. The heart of this Mediterranean marvel was its 521cc air-cooled SOHC single-cylinder engine. No fancy technology here, just pure mechanical simplicity, delivering 34 horsepower at 8,000 RPM and 30 pound-feet of torque at 6,500 RPM. The Roadster tipped the scales at a feathery 308 pounds dry, making its modest power figures feel much more impressive in the real world. A single Mikuni 34mm carburetor handled fuel delivery with characteristic Italian indifference to fuel efficiency, though the bike still managed about 55 miles per gallon. Marzocchi provided the 40mm telescopic fork up front, paired with a monoshock rear, both tuned for more urban agility than track day heroics. A single 320mm front disc and 240mm rear disc handle stopping duties adequately for the lightweight package. The Roadster's 30.7-inch seat height made it approachable for shorter riders, while its 55-inch wheelbase and narrower profile made splitting traffic an absolute joy. Next on our list is number 8, the Honda Hawk GT NT650. 20 years ahead of its time, that's how most motorcycle historians view the Honda Hawk GT today. This wasn't just another middleweight in the 90s, it was a prophecy for the 2000s. Honda's 647cc liquid-cooled SOHC 52-degree V-twin produced modest numbers, 58 horsepower at 7,500 RPM and 45 pound-feet of torque at 6,000 RPM. But the specs only tell half the story. The real revolution was underneath. An aluminum twin-spar frame and single-sided pro-arm swing arm arrived years before these features became fashionable. The Hawk's innovations continued with its minimalist naked styling and neutral riding position, concepts that wouldn't become mainstream until the early 2000s. Weighing just 370 pounds dry, the Hawk danced through corners with an agility that belied its relaxed ergonomics. Its 41mm telescopic fork paired with a Pro-Link monoshock rear setup delivered a planted, confident ride. A single 296mm front disc with twin-piston caliper and 220mm rear disc provided stopping power that matched the bike's character perfectly. With a 30.7-inch seat height and 56.5-inch wheelbase striking an ideal balance between stability and flickability, the 3.3-gallon fuel tank might seem small by today's standards, but with 45 miles per gallon efficiency, range wasn't an issue. From a forgotten pioneer to a forgotten missile. Number 7. The Suzuki RF900R. You've probably never seen this one, yet the RF900R represents perhaps Suzuki's most underrated contribution to 90s motorcycling. Suzuki crammed a monstrous 937 liquid-cooled DOHC inline-4 between the steel twin-spar frame rails. The numbers were serious business: 135 horsepower at 10,000 RPM, 71 pound-feet of torque at 9,000 RPM, and a top speed touching 155 miles per hour. All this from a bike that wasn't even Suzuki's flagship sport bike. Make no mistake, the RF900R was no lightweight at 432 pounds dry, but it carried its mass with surprising grace. The 43mm front fork, adjustable for preload, and rear monoshock managed the substantial weight effectively, while dual 310mm front discs with 4 piston calipers and single 240mm rear disc brought things to a halt with conviction. The RF's 31.1-inch seat height and 58.3-inch wheelbase reflected its dual sport touring nature, as did the 5.2-gallon fuel tank that provided excellent range at around 38 miles per gallon. What distinguished the RF900R from contemporaries was its versatility, equally comfortable humming along at highway speeds or hunting apexes on mountain roads. So, are you being blown away by these 90s treasures? Smash that like button, subscribe to our channel, and don't forget to ring that bell. We always love hearing from you. Now, from Japanese versatility to British exclusivity. Number 6. The Triumph Daytona Super 3. Only 805 ever made. The Triumph Daytona Super 3 wasn't just rare, it was extraordinary. Cosworth Engineering, yes, the Formula One legends, collaborated with Triumph to create something special. An 885cc liquid-cooled DOHC triple producing 115 horsepower at 10,500 RPM and 68 pound-feet of torque at 8,000 RPM. 3 cylinders, 3 exhaust pipes, and a sound that raised goosebumps. The Super 3 sat on a steel-spined frame, weighing in at 465 pounds dry. Substantial, but not excessive for its era. Premium components abounded: 43mm Marzocchi front forks, fully adjustable rear monoshock, and Brembo brakes featuring dual 320mm front discs with 4 piston calipers and a 255mm rear disc. Its 31.8-inch seat height and 58.5-inch wheelbase provided stability without sacrificing responsiveness. The Super 3 rolled on 120 70 ZR17 front and 180 55 ZR17 rear tires, serious rubber for serious performance. The 5.5-gallon fuel tank provided decent range, though few owners worried about the 39-mile-per-gallon economy when piloting this British exotic. What they remember instead is that distinctive howl from those 3 exhaust pipes, the brutal mid-range punch, and the exclusivity of owning something genuinely special. When the Super 3 hit 150 miles per hour, it did so with aristocratic British confidence, not Japanese clinical precision. Next, on to some Japanese savagery. Number 5. The Suzuki TL1000S. The bike they called the Widowmaker wasn't for the faint-hearted. Suzuki's first serious V-twin sport bike arrived with a bang, and often departed with a wobble. The TL1000S packed a 996cc liquid-cooled DOHC 90-degree V-twin, producing 125 horsepower at 8,500 RPM and 76 pound-feet of torque at 7,000 RPM. Those numbers put it squarely in superbike territory, but with the character of a sledgehammer. The infamous rotary rear damper system, designed to save space for the V-twin configuration, became notorious for creating high-speed instability, earning the bike its grim nickname. Yet, those brave enough to master it discovered something remarkable beneath the reputation. Weighing 432 pounds dry and riding on a 55.7-inch wheelbase, the TL used a distinctive trellis frame that looked more Italian than Japanese. A 43mm fully adjustable telescopic fork handled the front suspension duties, while those dual 320mm front discs and single 220mm rear provided stopping power to match the explosive acceleration. The TL1000S demanded respect with its 32.5-inch seat height and 4.5-gallon fuel tank. It returned about 36 miles per gallon, if you could keep your right wrist in check, which few owners managed. Riders either feared the TL1000S or fell hopelessly in love with it. Few remained indifferent. From notorious twin to beloved 4. Number 4. The Yamaha FZR600. Not all heroes wear capes. The FZR600 never grabbed headlines like its R6 successor, yet it quietly revolutionized the middleweight sport class. Take a close look at the specs. 599cc liquid-cooled DOHC inline 4, producing 91 horsepower at 11,000 RPM and 46 pound-feet of torque at 9,500 RPM. These numbers don't scream revolutionary, but the FZR600 offered something more important: perfect balance. Yamaha's Delta Box steel frame, radical for its time, delivered handling precision previously unknown in this class. At 414 pounds dry, the FZR wasn't the lightest 600, but its mass centralization made it feel dramatically more nimble than numbers suggested. The 38mm telescopic front fork and rear monoshock, both preload adjustable, provided a superb compromise between sporty handling and real-world comfort. Dual 298mm front discs and a single 245mm rear disc delivered predictable, fade-resistant stopping power. With its 30.9-inch seat height and 55.9-inch wheelbase, the FZR600 wasn't intimidating, and that was exactly the point. The 4.5-gallon fuel tank and 40 to 42 mile per gallon efficiency meant fewer stops on long rides. It wasn't just accessible, it was addictively fun, reliable, and capable of growing with a rider's developing skills. From accessible 4-stroke to wild 2-stroke thrills. Number 3. The Kawasaki KR1S. The smell of premixed fuel, the Banshee wail at 11,000 RPM. The KR1S represented the glorious last gasp of street-legal 2-stroke motorcycles. Kawasaki somehow crammed 55 horsepower at 11,000 RPM from just 249 cc. This liquid-cooled parallel twin 2-stroke screamer produced 27 pound-feet of torque at 10,000 RPM. Modest numbers until you consider the bike's featherweight 286-pound dry mass. The power-to-weight ratio was nothing short of spectacular. The aluminum twin-spar frame was cutting-edge technology for the early 90s, providing razor-sharp handling that complemented the engine's peaky, all-or-nothing power delivery. 0 to 60 came up in under 4 seconds, astonishing for a 250cc machine. A 41mm telescopic front fork and monoshock rear, with preload adjustment, kept the rubber on the road. Dual 270mm front discs and a single 200mm rear disc handled deceleration duties, critical given the bike's 130 mph top speed. With a 30.7-inch seat height, 54.7-inch wheelbase, and 4-gallon tank, the KR1S was compact but not cramped. Fuel economy hovered around 30 to 35 miles per gallon, though few riders concerned themselves with efficiency when aboard this pocket rocket. What riders remember most is the sensory assault, the distinctive ring-ding exhaust note, the blue smoke, and the intoxicating rush as the power band hit. Next, a motorcycle with touring brilliance. Number 2. The BMW R1100RS. Revolution isn't a word typically associated with BMW, yet the R1100RS deserves exactly that description. It changed everything. When BMW unveiled its new oil-head boxer engine, traditional BMW enthusiasts were skeptical. This 1085cc air-oil-cooled flat twin produced 90 horsepower at 7,250 RPM and 70 pound-feet of torque at 5,500 RPM. Those are respectable figures that still prioritize torque over peak horsepower. The real innovation lay in the suspension. The telelever front end eliminated dive under braking, while the paralever rear end prevented shaft drive jacking. Together, they created a riding experience unlike anything else on two wheels, supremely stable, confidence-inspiring, and utterly unique. At 507 pounds dry, with a 58.5-inch wheelbase, the R1100RS was substantial, but never unwieldy. Dual 305mm front discs with 4-piston Brembo calipers and a single 276mm rear disc provided exceptional stopping power. The adjustable seat height, 30.7 to 32.3 inches, and 5.8-gallon fuel tank were practical touches that underscored BMW's commitment to genuine sport touring. The 45 to 48 mile per gallon efficiency meant a realistic range exceeding 250 miles. What made the R1100RS legendary wasn't its 130 mph top speed, but how it made every mile feel special, comfortable, capable, and distinctively BMW. Last on our list is an engineering extravagance. Number 1. The Honda NR750. Now, some motorcycles are rare, others are exotic. The Honda NR750 was mythical. At its heartbeat was what many consider the most complex production motorcycle engines ever created. A 747cc liquid-cooled DOHC 90-degree V4 with rectangular pistons. Yes, rectangular, each containing 8 valves and 2 connecting rods. This engineering moonshot produced 125 horsepower at 14,000 RPM and 65 pound-feet of torque at 11,500 RPM. limited to just 300 units worldwide and priced at over $60,000 in 1992, which is about $125,000 today. The NR750 wasn't just expensive, it was unobtainable for all but the wealthiest collectors. Everything about it pushed boundaries: carbon fiber bodywork, titanium-coated windscreen, electronic fuel injection, and underseat exhaust years before these became fashionable. The NR750's aluminum twin-spar frame carried a 43mm inverted fork and Pro-Link monoshock, both fully adjustable. Dual 310mm front discs and single 220mm rear provided stopping power for a machine capable of exceeding 155 miles per hour. With a 31.5-inch seat height, 56.3-inch wheelbase, and 489-pound dry weight, the NR750 had the dimensions of a conventional sport bike, but the soul of something otherworldly. Its 5.5-gallon tank and roughly 35-mile-per-gallon efficiency were mere footnotes to the technological tour de force that defined this motorcycle. The NR750 wasn't just the pinnacle of 90s motorcycle engineering. It remains Honda's ultimate statement of what's possible when cost does not object. So did your favorite 90s motorcycle make our list? Let us know below. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more two-wheeled content.